Hey guys, if you haven't already, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. This is a what if series and I'll be doing more down the road. Plus Ultra. Hey guys, thank you for the 4,000 subscribers. That's insane. You feel me? That's fucking insane. Oh my god. What if Goku landed in Naruto? So yeah, I'm doing my 4,000 subscriber special on what if Goku landed in the world of Naruto and how I see his life going. Now, I still want to thank you guys for helping me reach 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. That means a lot to me and that's a milestone. And I've achieved that milestone. Now it's just a few more thousand to go and just see how fast and far I can grow this account with much work and effort that I'm putting into it. Now, keep in mind, Goku being a Naruto is insane due to the fact that Goku's a beast. But as far as scaling Goku down, I'm not doing that. Instead, I'm creating someone else. I'm creating someone else that's gonna be like a rival to Goku. I said like a Vegeta to Goku, but you're gonna see that personality being shifted. So as far as Goku having a rival, it's gonna be Sakura, as I don't see too many female male rivalries. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But I'm talking about like Shonen Jump series. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. I apologize. But as far as this one's gonna go, Sakura is gonna be a rival towards Goku, and she's gonna go down a path of power. So Sakura, in this sense, you seen in the picture that I displayed in the community tab, has this purplish red aura irradiating over her body and has these red eyes. Sakura is family, the Haranos, are going to have a Kekkei Genkai that gives Sakura two specific transformations. And the transformations will be incredibly impactful during the story. So keep an eye out for those specific transformations that are going to occur. Anyway, Sakura is going to be more of that rival towards Goku. And due to the fact that Sakura is smart and Sakura has good, in this story, that Sakura has good chakra control back in the original part. In this story, Sakura is going to master her chakra control to a new profound level of power. She's going to master her chakra control, and she's also going to get into the fact of learning genjutsus and getting an eye out to when to deactivate a genjutsu just to show her superiority or just to make a person look stupid at saying this is nothing. A mere genjutsu won't stop me. And that's just how that would play out. Now, I'm not scaling Goku down, you already know that much, so let's just get into the story. So, Goku and Planet Vegeta Kakarot would be getting ready to explode with the tyrant known as Frieza destroying the planet, sending a ki blast down to destroy the planet. Frieza and his men would be laughing in glory as the planet blew up in flames or explosion. And Bardock dies, telling his son to avenge his race as he falls. Goku's space pod would be hurtling through space as it's been goodness how long since Goku's reached this planet. Well, since Goku's reached. But his space pod would be just flowing through space as it crashed landed in Konoha. But the scenery was off. Everything was off because the village was when he crash landed, the village was just filled up with smoke, flames, and destruction. As Goku's pod hit and you heard a huge like explosion, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, I think that's her last name, yes, Kushina Uzumaki, would have just subdued the Nine Tails. They just sealed half of the Nine Tails inside of Naruto. And Kushina would be looking at the huge explosion. Well, Minato would, as he fell to the ground and say, "What's that? You mean to tell me there's another attack?" And Hiruzen would go over there just to see what happened. Well, where that explosion came from, while he was managing to escort or save as many villagers as he could. I don't know what Hiruzen was doing that time. Correct me in the comments if he was doing something more important than saving some villagers. Hiruzen and his unit would run over there to see what had happened, with a few fellow ninja opening the pod, or basically examining the pod and seeing a baby inside with this mysterious armor on. The baby would open his eyes to look around to seeing these people standing around him, and he would also look up to this beautiful white orb that's in the sky. And the baby would start feeling a change. He would start feeling something going on in his body as he felt contorts, as he felt his muscles just expanding, or he let out a huge roar as the baby grew into this giant great ape, and it was just stomping around. It let out a huge roar that was felt throughout the whole entire Leaf Village, and it shocked Hiruzen to his core that we already dealt with the Nine Tails attack. Now you're telling me that there's a giant great ape over the city, well, over the village, and the ninjas would be in a panic. They already had just, well, basically calmed their nerves during the attack of the Nine Tails. Now it's attack of a great ape. The great ape was causing damage, punching buildings, letting out ki blasts from its mouth, destroying, causing lots of destruction. And Hiruzen Sarutobi would summon Monkey King Emma as he didn't know what else to do. His ninjas was at a downfall. They were low on chakra, and it wasn't much that they could do, because they fired off every attack they could. And Monkey King Emma would tell Hiruzen that the power is coming from the child's tail. If we managed to put a duo ceiling on its tail, I think he would revert back into his childlike state, and it wouldn't cause him to transform anymore, although we have to keep checking on the seal from time to time, just to make sure it's okay. So Hiruzen and his unit would battle the great ape until they managed to get the great ape down. Hiruzen and Monkey King Emma would rush with speeds at the great ape, putting a dual ceiling on the great ape's tail, reverting Goku back to his baby-like form. Now, everything is done. Hiruzen just stopped an attack. He was happy. He was exhausted. Some of his ninja let out a battle cry as the battles, it was over. The attack on the Leaf Village was over. Obito was watching in the distance and saying, well, that couldn't have gone any better. Well, or as Madara as we know him, but he would say, well, that couldn't have gone any better than what I hoped for. I mean, I get I had the Nine Tails and I did my own attack on the Leaf Village, but who was that ape? I guess somebody else has a personal vendetta out for this village. And then he would disappear. And the same events would play out with Minato and Kushina sacrificing themselves for Naruto and sealing half of the Nine Tails inside of him. And Hiruzen would rush over there to see Kushina and Minato's body dead. And he would shed tears, seeming as if he felt them. He would hear Kushina try to speak, but he would pick her up and Kushina would say, My son's name is Naruto. Please make sure his life is... And Kushina would pass away, dying in the third Hokage's arms. The third Hokage now has Naruto Uzumaki, and this boy he doesn't know nothing of. Monkey King Emma would tell Hiruzen to name the child Son Goku, and that he's one of those kind of fighters that was talked about in legends. And Hiruzen would say, well, what kind of legend are you talking about? And he'd say, I'm not sure, but if it might be just fairy tales, but he shows a high potential in ki. It seems like those fairy tales might be actually come true, since ki was first developed before chakra was even a thing. I guess in prehistoric years, they used ki as their natural fighting tactics. Sounds interesting. So we now flash forward to 7 years, where a 7-year-old Goku would be training under Hiruzen and Might Guy, and Naruto would be training under Hiruzen, as Hiruzen would see that Naruto's chakra is being disrupted by the Nine Tails, and he would teach a 6-year-old Naruto the multi-shadow clone jutsu, and Naruto barely being able to put out, 3 shadow clones. He put out 3 shadow clones, and it was easy for Naruto to expand his chakra like that, as Hiruzen looked at Naruto and saying, if you master, this is a good way to basically put your chakra all out there, so you won't have a problem when you need to do a clone jutsu on the test. So you probably will pass. Anyway, Goku and Might Guy with training with Hiruzen. Hiruzen would teach Goku the basics of Ki, with Monkey King Emma aiding him along, as Hiruzen had no idea about how to teach someone Ki. Goku would be taught in concealing his ki, or having ki blast attacks or stuff like that, and Goku would be to like learn how to sense ki, because ki is enveloped in others. So this would give Goku to like, he wouldn't be able to sense chakra, but since there's a small amount of ki in every individual, he'd be able to sense that. So Goku would be able to sense ki, and Might Guy would be teaching Goku in the martial arts states. So Goku would still become that martial arts master that we all know and love. So, as far as Hiruzen could teach Goku, Hiruzen would tell Goku when he was 8 years old and Naruto was 7 years old, and they wouldn't have that lonely stature, as they stayed up. I mean, some of the villagers would give Naruto and Goku death glares and would often call them names, saying, "Goku, you're a great ape demon," and "Naruto, you're a nine tails brat." And Goku would just have his hands behind his head, saying, just walking off and laughing and saying, just not paying attention to, no mind to what people are calling him. And while cheering up Naruto, when Naruto's wondering why no one would play with him and everyone calls him a monster, Goku just tells Naruto, just don't focus on it. Just pay attention more to your training. And when the day comes to prove to them that you're not a monster, you would have the strength to back up. Well, Jesus, I'm stuttering. He would tell Naruto that don't pay attention to what people are saying about him. Just keep focusing on your training. And when the day comes that you want to become something or protect them from something, you would have the strength to back up that saying. You have the strength to become something that people don't think you have the potential to do while they're looking down on you. Naruto would hear this, and he would be inspired by how Goku, well, a brother, Goku, because Naruto would be looking at Goku as a brother. I mean, it's the only person that's ever been in his face since he was a child or a little kid. Naruto and Goku would be staying together, as Hiruzen would tell Goku that there's nothing left for him to teach him, as he has a friend that's coming in the village 2 months from now to basically train him in the arts of ki control. And if you guys don't know who this guy is, his name is Master Roshi. For some of you who don't know, Master Roshi is a Jonin level ninja who was in the Leaf Village, but he goes to explore out and wander the land. He's just a ninja. He's just he's wandering around, and he's going quite old. So it's not much that Master Roshi can do. And Master Roshi still has his buff form. Yes, he does. But still, he's old. Granny Chio, old. Anyway. So Goku would be training mostly with Might Guy, learning about Rock Lee, and him and Rock Lee designing their own unique rivalry, as Rock Lee was surprised at how fast Goku was keeping on par with Might Guy, and Might Guy said, for every lesson that you achieve, I will unlock one gate and battle you, because Goku was pushing the odds against Might Guy due to his development. And Naruto would have his encounter, because it's going to be a Naruto Hinata ship in this one, so if you're out doing all that. Anyway, Naruto would be focused on training, just developing his skills in taijutsu and also mastering his jutsus as well, getting control on the shadow clone jutsu, being able to create at least 100 shadow clones now that he's 7 years old. And while Goku's 8 years old, it was impressive because to Might Guy's aspect, this 8-year-old is he's learning to fight very, very good. I guess it's in his nature, or it's just born into his DNA that he adapts so well. We now cut to someone who's being trained by her father. Hard. Very, very hard. And her mother's not letting up either, as her mother then cuts in and tells her that she'll handle it. And her mother radiates this this purplish pink aura around her. And she tells her child to stand up. You want to become the strongest Konoichi in this Leaf Village? Then you're going to have to train hard. You're going to have to go through tough turbulations. No pain, no gain. Beat this into your head and keep training. As this pink haired girl looked at her mom and said, "Yes, mother." She trained hard as she could, learning various amounts of martial arts, getting a control on her chakra, studying, and basically being at the top of her class. Now that you got that little hint right there, we now cut to when Goku was 12 years old and he graduated from the academy. Goku didn't have a teacher yet. Well, not 12 years old. Yes, Goku didn't have a teacher yet. Well, he was, let's say, yeah, because Goku was 12 years old. Yeah, so let's say for a year, Master Roshi would come and take Goku from the Leaf Village. And Goku's 12 years old. Sakura and Naruto, Sasuke, all of them are still in the academy together. And while this is produce a more battle tournament Sakura, so we're gonna cut away from their the whole class arc and everything, and now we're gonna focus on Goku. So Master Roshi would take Goku off for a year's worth of training, and then when Goku would turn back, he would be 13 years old. So Goku would learn how to control his ki, how to fly, how to manipulate his ki and do ki attacks. And Master Roshi would teach him the Kamehameha. And Goku would say, well, not Kamehameha. Master Roshi would teach Goku the Solar Flare. And Goku would say, well, is there any other awesome attacks you know, Master Roshi? And Master Roshi would buff up and say, this is an attack that took me at least 50 years to master. And he goes to say, Kame, ha, and let off this bluish beam that shoots out, and Goku's eyes filled with stars. Goku said, "Oh yeah, I can do that. I want to learn that." And Goku puts his hands together and say, "Kame." The beam grew bigger and bigger in Goku's hands as he let out a huge blue energy beam. Master Roshi jaw dropped as this technique took him 50 years to master, and this kid just looked at him and instantly, just like that, did the attack with no problem at all. Goku said, "Wow, I like that move. I'm gonna use that more often." And then Master Roshi would just be teaching Goku about martial arts and the basics amount of training, getting his ki and everything, and that's pretty much it. We now cut to a part where Ino Yamanaka is going, like, calling Sakura, well, picking on Sakura about her forehead, as these two never had any encounters because Sakura was more focused on her training. Sakura would look at Ino and tell her that instead you can pick on my forehead, but I wonder if you got all that mouth. Do your hands do any talking? As Sakura would slap Ino, and Ino would look at Sakura, and Sakura would say, "What are you going to do about it? I just slapped you. You got enough audacity to pick on my forehead, but you have no backup. What's that I'm smelling? A weakling." And Sakura would walk off. Ino would run at Sakura, but Sakura would do a flash, well, a body flicker, and be right behind Ino, giving her a look and saying, "You're not even on my level. You're trash that deserves to be in a bin. Get out of my face before I annihilate you." And you would see this aura irradiating over Sakura as she just unleashed a tiny bit of her bloodlust. Ino would be scared and back away from Sakura as Sakura would sit down in her chair and bid him back to studying. So now we're going to explain Goku's uniform because Goku just now returned back to the village and Team 7 was basically formed and Goku was put on Team 7 as due to the fact that he didn't have a team and there were odd placements of teams. 13-year-old on Team 7. So Goku's outfit when he came back from training with Master Roshi would look similar to something like this. And Goku would be imitating a very huge aura around him, emanating aura. Sakura would take looks to this as she sees that this kid is very strong. It could possibly rival her in power. As she walks up to Goku and says, "Hey, fight me." And this is when Team 7 was going to the roof because Kakashi was going to explain things about goals, dreams, and ambitions. So Sakura, before that happened, before any of that would happen, would tell Goku to fight her, and Goku would instantly says yes, with Master Roshi saying, "No, not yet. No, you two do not have time to fight yet." As I do, he would be spinning his little staff in his hands and says, "As I remember, you have to go to a roof to meet your new Jonin teacher. You keep him waiting and you might get kicked off the team, Goku." And Goku would say, "Oh crap, you're right." And Sakura would just look away and just say, "Tisk." Well, she would say, and both of them would go to the roof doing, well, competing to say, well, if we can't fight, we can see who's the fastest between us. And Goku would agree to this, and they both would shoot off, racing to see who can get to the top of the building first, with them showing well, such great speed. Well, it felt like Sakura was looking at Goku, and Goku was smiling as both of them were zooming throughout the village. Goku was surprised at how fast he's gotten, and so was Sakura. But Goku also stated that, well, I can get faster if I take these shoes off and these wristbands and stuff. I can get way stronger, way faster. Do you like to see? And Sakura was interested in this and saying, yeah, if I take my leaf headband off and my shoes, I could possibly become faster too. Would you like to see? Sakura would give Goku a look as they reached the building neck and neck. Sakura was surprised that this low class shinobi could keep up with her, one who didn't really do well in the academy in the first place, but still graduated. This would irk Sakura to see that how is this low class just getting so strong, which would make her angered and saying, the reason why I want to fight you, Goku, is to basically stomp on you to say that you're weak. You don't have enough power. You're a low class who deserves to only be a cook. And Goku would say, look at Sakura and say, with enough training, I bet I can surpass an elite prodigy like you. And Sakura would say, in your dreams. And she would walk away. Goku would look at Sakura, basically scratching his head and saying, what's wrong with her? She never really liked me. She's always showed this audacity to fight me. And Master Roshi would walk up and say, what do you mean? Me and that girl, I mean, every time we see each other, I always liked her intensity, like her volume, like every time she's seeing me, it was always an all out battle. We've been fighting ever since we've been kids. But I've always won. Not like Goku. And Master Roshi said, Goku, well, I've not always won against her. I've won at least half of my fights against her. Most of the times I lost. And what do you mean most of the times? Well, if you kind of mentioning, I say we're now 5-8. So you won 5 times against her and she's won 8 times against you. Yeah, more like it. And in this sense, Goku's learned to count. So I'm gonna give him that aspect. Goku's learned to count. So now that they're back on T7, Kakashi goes through his usual phase as the teams to tell me your dreams, goals, and ambitions. With Sakura standing up saying, "Won't you tell us your dreams, goals, and ambitions, Kakashi Sensei?" And Kakashi would say, a smart one. Well, my dreams are none of your business. My goals are also none of your business. And as far as my ambition goes, I don't feel like telling you that. Now, proceed. Sasuke would go on to say the same thing he did in canon, with Sakura saying something very much different. She didn't do all the giggles that you rarely see. She just said, I want to become the strongest Konoichi ever, and I also have someone I want to prove that I'm stronger than. Goku stands up and saying, I want to be a strong shinobi. I want to tower above people. I want to fight strong people. And I like my brother Naruto. And I also enjoy eating very delicious foods. I also enjoy my teacher, Master Roshi, because he's taught me a lot. And Naruto would say the same thing. He didn't can and wanted to become the Hokage, but for a different reason, not to be acknowledged, but for the sole purpose to protect those that can't protect themselves, to be a beacon of light for the village, to implement his enactment of peace as he wants to erase hatred. Now, we now cut to the bell test arc. Kakashi would appear in a field telling the students to, you have, if you want to pass, all you have to do is take the bells from my waist. Now, this like makes Sakura raise an eyebrow to this because she says, well, Kakashi, since there's only two bells. And well, Naruto would say, yeah, there's only two. How are all four of us supposed to pass? And Kakashi would say, figure it out. And he flips the page in his book. Goku would say this guy's strong and rush at Kakashi Sensei, with Sakura behind, not wanting to be left being one stepped up by this monkey boy. So both of them rush at Goku. I mean, not Goku. Both of them rush at Kakashi Sensei, sending off the various attacks, which Kakashi kicks Sakura away and kicks Goku away, and saying that you two tried, but you failed. And Goku would come back with another punch that Kakashi literally had dropped his book and caught with his eyes widening, and Sakura wouldn't be too far off. Both of them would be charging at Kakashi, sending off blows that Kakashi couldn't keep up with. I mean, both of them are uncoordinated. They didn't have similarity attacks. They weren't working as a team. They were just doing their own thing, yet it was catching Kakashi off guard, which he did a gust of when they hit him the last time, he did a substitution and teleported away and was rushing at both of them. Now Kakashi is starting to get a little serious as these two Genin are basically pushing him to a limit. As Goku's attacks are nothing to be played around with, as when Kakashi was hit by Goku, he felt as if he was hit by a Jonin. That's just how strong Goku's attacks. Well, not Jonin. Say for example, let's put him at a Chunin. He felt he was hit by a Chunin. Goku and Sakura would be still continuing their assault on Kakashi Sensei, with Naruto and Sasuke following along. Sasuke would jump up into the air, unleashing a huge fireball, with Naruto doing his shadow clone jutsus, and one of the shadow clones would look at the fireball and say, wind style air bullet. Yes, and Hiruzen taught Naruto his wind nature, would tell Naruto that you have a specific nature and chakra, and it would be wind. So this is the only wind thing that Naruto would learn as of a moment, but keep your eye on that because Naruto has wind style in his arsenal. He's learned his wind nature very early, so keep an eye on that. And if you don't know how this goes, the team would say this. So Sakura would say, me and this idiot over here basically have Kakashi in strength and speed. We can throw him off because me and him have never been on a coordinated field. We have never fought. Well, we have never fought as a team. We've always fought against each other. Meanwhile, you and Naruto can just be backup. And Sasuke would say, well, you can be my backup. And Sakura would say, if you fail this exam, I will kill you where you stand. And Goku would say, hey, you don't have to be a jerk. And Sakura would say, this mission, this bell thing is about teamwork. So in order for us to pass, we have to work as a team, whether you like it or not. So Sakura would suggest that Naruto and Sasuke, when they sense Kakashi is off guard, jump in and unleash your attacks. Goku would ask Naruto that, don't you know that wind bullet thing? And Naruto would say, yeah, the Gramps taught me that a while back. And Sasuke would look at Naruto and saying, wait, what wind style thing? And Goku would say, well, if I'm not correct, I know you cheat. If I'm not wrong, and this hurts my brain, but Sasuke, do you know any type of fire jutsu? And Sasuke would shake his head and say, yeah, I have a fireball jutsu. Well, if Naruto shoots a wind bullet at that fireball jutsu, it can make it bigger, and that can basically help us with this attack, with this plan of attack. And Sasuke wanted to test this theory out. So that's why you seen Naruto shoot a wind bullet at the fireball. and it expanded the fireball with Kakashi's eyes widening and him having to battle the shadow clones. The these two strong Genin and seeing that Sasuke was up there, seeming that his team was really coordinated. They were coordinated for it to be just Genin, just mere Genin. They were coordinated. And Kakashi would jump out of the way. Well, he would unsheath his. He would have to use his Sharingan to get that attack. But I don't think he would. I think Kakashi wouldn't have to use his Sharingan. Let's erase that. Kakashi would body flicker away. Kakashi would body flicker away, and he would tell the team that you pass. Sakura would say, "Yeah, I was right," and she would clench her fist and have a smile on her face. With Sasuke thinking in his head, saying, "Wow, that girl actually is a good strategist." And Naruto would be happy that he passed. Goku also would be happy that he passed. So for the remaining of the while, the team would do like basic amount of missions such as D rank missions and stuff like that, saving cats from trees and stuff like that. It would just be doing very boring missions, and this would irk Sakura, and this would irk Sakura, and it would also irk Goku and Naruto. But instead of Naruto asking in Gramps, it was more of Goku walking in with his hands behind his head and saying, "Grandpa, can we get a better mission than the ones we're going on? It's not showing any of my skill, and I feel like you're doing this on purpose." And Hiruzen would laugh with the team saying, "Is this your grandpa?" And Goku would look back and say, "Yeah, he's the one that raised me." Now, well, people like such as Sakura and Sasuke. Anyway, Hiruzen would call in Tazuna, and Tazuna would come in saying, "Ugh, these people, why is that girl's hair pink? And these are mere Genin. You think they can protect me?" As Sakura would walk up to Tazuna and saying, "If this doesn't hurt, then we can't protect you." And she hits him with a 1 inch punch, which toughened up gagged up spit. And Kakashi would be shocked that Sakura would do this. He was saying, "Sakura, and relax. I'm only showing him that we're just not mere Genin." And Sakura would walk through the door, and Tazuna would sing, "That girl had some incredible strength just to be a child." And this is when the Land of Waves arc would begin. This would amaze Goku even more, saying, "This girl has some amazing strength on her. I want to fight her so bad again. I can't wait to test out my strength to see just how strong I've gotten." Now we see the Land of Waves are beginning. So as far as they're walking and the two Chunin brothers come out, Naruto and Sasuke dealt with those pretty easily, as I'm going to give those to them. As Goku didn't really do much, as he wanted to see Naruto's skill, and Sakura wanted to see just how strong Sasuke is, or what those two could offer to the team, as she didn't want to be held back by lackeys. So the rest of the journey would go out with Kakashi asking Tazuna about what is really going on with this mission, and Tazuna saying that his family is being held by a mobster named Gato, and he's being hunted down by two skilled ninja. And out of nowhere, the mist starts to form, and a blade comes with Kakashi telling the team to duck, but Goku didn't duck. Goku jumps up and catches the blade between his feet and his knuckles, basically slowing the blade down and redirecting it back at Zabuza. Zabuza was shocked that a Genin could do this, well, let alone catch his blade at the speed he threw it. Zabuza catches his blade, and all the mist clears to see the ninja called Zabuza. And Goku instantly saying, "Kakashi Sensei, who is that?" And Kakashi would say, "That's one of the 7 deadly swordsmen, Zabuza." And Goku would say, "Is he strong?" Kakashi said, "Yes, he's strong. He's a 7 deadly swordsman." Out of nowhere, Goku would just rush off and charge at Zabuza with various amounts of skill and martial arts. He was literally in a taijutsu battle with Zabuza. And Goku had his power pole, and Zabuza would be hitting the power pole, cutting at it, noticing that Goku had various skills with this power pole. And Goku would say, "Here, extend," and hit Zabuza in the stomach with the pole extending, sending Zabuza through various amounts of trees. And Zabuza would get like crash out of the trees and do his hand signs. He would put his hand signs together and say water style, water dragon jutsu, and send it at Goku, which Goku would dodge and jump up in the air and expend his power pole, hitting Zabuza back to the ground. And Goku would just land on the ground saying, "Wait, I thought you were supposed to be strong. You're not showing any skill." As Zabuza got heated, that Genin is tossing him around like this. He's not. What is going on? And Zabuza put his hands together and unleashed the mist, which Goku let his guard down as he intentionally does, and Kakashi Sensei ends up getting caught in the water. Well, not Kakashi Sensei. Let's change it up a bit. Let's say Naruto, which is a mistake. So Kakashi Sensei says Naruto was in the water and he basically couldn't breathe and everything, but Naruto tried holding his breath as he had practice with Goku when they went out to train in the woods, trying to get some of their primitive states acquired. And Goku would be showing Naruto how to hold his breath underwater to catch fish. So during the fight and the battle, Gorzabu Zabumochi said, "You let your guard down, and I got this brat." And Goku would say, "Well, you're half right." With Goku just standing there, he gets into a stance. I wonder, in this, if I do this, how long would you hold on to him? I can manage not to hit my brother, but for you, this is gonna engulf you. Goku would get into a stance, and he would tell Sasuke and Sakura to stand back along with Tazuna as Goku eyes begin to glow. And he would say, "Kame." And you see this orb irradiating in Zabuza's hand. And Goku would finish his chant saying, "Hame." And ha! Zabuza seeing this kid just thrust this blast, this huge energy like beam coming towards him. Zabuza instantly lets the water prison go. He jumps out of the way of the blast, barely clinging like having his heart in his ass. Zabuza was scared at the fact that if that blast would have hit him, it would have killed him or it would have disintegrated him, basically freeing Naruto from his prison. So Naruto is free and he's gasping for air, saying, "Oh, I couldn't breathe. Yeah, it took you long enough to save me with that one." And Goku would scratch his head and say, "Yeah, I'm sorry about that." So Zabuza Hamamochi, Kakashi is now saying, "Okay, this is enough of this." And Kakashi does a water dragon jutsu. And Sakura would say, "Let me handle this. I haven't had a shot at this guy yet. I want to turn." And Sakura would rush at Zabuza, punching him dead in the stomach. Zabuza didn't have enough time to react as he then grabbed his sword and swung it at Sakura, with Sakura basically dodging it and kicking Zabuza in the neck, making Zabuza cough up blood as he went skip rocking across the ground. And he got back up, falling back to the ground, fatigued, looking at Sakura, saying, "What is this team? Who are you people?" And Zabuza would pass out due to his injuries. Team 7 has defeated the ninja, the 7 deadly swordsmen called Zabuza. And Tazuna would be surprised at this team, let alone their skill and their powers. Each of them shows a different display in powers. With the girl, he's definitely scared of, feeling like she's gonna come for him in his sleep. As the girl, Sakura, displayed some incredible, like she didn't play with Zabuza. She instantly just punched it as she was sending out the kick to the neck that she gave him. Could have killed Zabuza, but it didn't. So Haku would come in and send Zenbone in Zabuza's neck and basically finishing him off as they didn't think and would take him off, saying he's dead. So we now flash forward through all the events played out. It's the same way they did in canon until now we're on the bridge. And with this part in this bridge, Goku, Naruto. Well, Goku was just arriving to see his two brothers. Well, not two brothers, his brother and Sasuke fighting against Haku. They're sending Haku sending off Sinbon and everything as Goku made his way in there, but now Naruto has taken his focus off. Him and Sasuke have taken their focus off. But Naruto can take it. Sasuke can't. As Haku sent out a flurry of Sinbon at both of them and they were impacted by it. Goku's eyes felt with horror. They were filled with horror as he thought both Sasuke and Naruto had died. But Sasuke was still standing tall, along with Naruto, as they continued to fight. Goku was punching mirrors all over the place, sending ki blasts at mirrors and throwing off various kicks, elbows, and everything, destroying the mirrors, but it wasn't doing much of anything. Goku was using his taijutsu to his advantage, noticing that his skill could break the mirrors, but what's breaking the mirror due to Haku's speed to reform the mirrors? The events would play out with Goku and Naruto in there now. Goku and Naruto in there, but this sense right here plays out different. As Naruto and Sasuke shield Goku because Goku dropped his guard and both of them shield him. And Goku's shocked. His two teammates, his brother, Naruto, fell. They fell. And Goku's eyes just filled with tears. And Naruto's like, why do I have to die here? I didn't even get to become Hokage. And he would just go fall unconscious as Sasuke would say, I didn't even get to achieve my goal. What a lousy Uchiha I am. Goku, everything would just fade to black as Goku would be angry. Goku would just ball his fist as this aura was just radiating out of Goku's body, and Goku's eyes would flash red as the aura irradiating through his body turned yellow, and it was just roaring through everywhere as Goku's eyes would turn yellow and his muscles would begin to bulk as Goku aura then flickered to a greenish yellow as it was bursting through the mirrors. Haku felt the pressure from this child as it was scurrying over. The pressure was so immense, so strong, that her mirrors was barely being able to stand. Haku was going through mirror to mirror trying to keep her, she was trying to pour chakra into the mirrors to reform them, but Goku's power was just too overwhelming as the mirror pressure shattered each and every one of those mirrors. Goku charged at Haku, sending off various attacks to her face, to his face, stomach, kicking him in the head, kicking him in the ribs, breaking his knees. Goku was doing everything, and then he grabbed Haku by the leg and slamming him into the bridge. Haku would let out a devastating, painful yell as Goku would send Haku into the air and fire off a ki blast, killing Haku. Goku was now unstable. Goku basically looked over to where Zabuza was, and he charged over to Zabuza, knocking Kakashi out of the way. And Sakura was interested in this. Sakura said in her head, he's basically gone berserk. I might be the one to have to calm him down. So Sakura would say this, but I'll let him have some fun with that sword guy over there. As Kakashi Sensei was taking too long, I probably was going to step in for the weakling. So Goku would charge at Zabuza, and Zabuza would swing his sword at Goku, with Goku basically hitting it and breaking the sword. Breaking Zabuza's sword. Goku would punch Zabuza in the stomach so hard that Zabuza coughed up blood. And Goku would grab Zabuza by the face and smashing him into the ground as Goku flew with the bridge and basically having Zabuza's head dragging along the rubble. Goku would send Zabuza in the air and send various amounts of punches to Zabuza's domino, kicking Zabuza back down to the bridge, sending him crashing through it. Zabuza was heavily battle damaged, but Zabuza couldn't even stand as Goku looked down and said, "Die." As he fired a ki blast at Zabuza, killing Zabuza on point. Goku still was he was still berserk. Goku couldn't control his powers. It was getting higher and higher. And he looked at Sakura. Sakura looked at him. And Sakura began to let out her own aura. As she said, "Yeah, you're berserk. You'll destroy anything in your path, won't you? You damned ape." As she charged at Goku, and Goku charged at her, and both of their fists clashed, sending out a gust of wind, sending Kakashi and Tazuna back, as Kakashi caught Tazuna and saying that, "What's going on? What's wrong with that lad over there?" And Kakashi, sorry, I had to clear my throat. Kakashi would say that Hiruzen told me about this, that it would be a point that he gone berserk. He said he would go berserk sometime. Well, this is all new to me. I don't think Hiruzen wouldn't tell Kakashi that. So let's just say Kakashi was saying, well, if I'm any smarter, I say he's gone berserk. The power inside him must have made him, whatever he's seen must have made him very mad. As Sakura and Goku would be engaging in their battle, as both of their fists clashed and the punches and kicks that they were delivering on each other, they were now in a scuffle as you can feel the pressure from their attacks, the wind and the energy that delivered from these two. As Sakura basically describes something that, well, developed something that she's just seen. Goku's attack. She put her hands together and says, "Cherry Blossom Blast," as Goku fired his own ki blast at the attack and they engaged in a beam struggle. And she would be laughing, saying, "I've mastered something that I've just now seen you do. Impressive. You are extraordinary, Goku." And Sakura would be Goku would just be getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and Goku's aura would rage in this green erupting aura as he would begin to push Sakura's beam back, but Sakura would push it back at Goku, and their beam would basically cancel each other out, sending both of them flying out, and Goku would hit into a wall hard, knocking him unconscious, with Sakura catching her footing and basically getting on one knee, seeming as if she put all she had in that beam to just basically subdue Goku. As if she didn't, Goku would have been on the rampage. And Sakura would say, "Ugh, Jesus Christ, you sure pack a punch, don't you?" And she would get up, brushing herself off, saying that you're doing all that for nothing. They're just unconscious, you idiot. And Sakura would walk back to Tazuna. And this is where Gato's men would come in. Gato and his men would walk on the bridges saying, "Tazuna, you owe us money." And Sakura would say, well, she would crack her knuckles and say, "It's time for me to finally have some fun." As Sakura would rush over to Tazuna and his men, well, not Tazuna, she would rush over to Gato and his men, basically punching and kicking each one of them with hard blows. And you would hear cracks from Sakura's hits as she would say, "You are all too weak." As they would swing their weapons at Sakura, and she would dodge them very easily as she would hit each and every one of the thugs that was supporting Gato and breaking bones. Sakura would break each and every one of their limbs, and they would scream out in pain, saying, "You caused these people to suffer. Now it's being paid back to you." As the most of the Gato's men were scared, they started to run away, jumping over the village, like jumping over the edge. And Sakura saying, "You think you can get away?" As she would do some kind of finger beam, just like Frieza did. She would put her hands out and shoot these beam like things out of her fingers, and they would go scorching, well, shooting through each and every person in that Tazuna had, well, not Tazuna, Gato had supporting him. Sakura just killed each and every one of Gato's men, and she looked at Tazuna with eyes that horrified his soul. "You're a disgusting man that doesn't deserve to live." And she put her hand up and said to Tazuna, "Die." As she rushed her, she put her hand up into a fist and rushed at Tazuna, punching through his chest and blasting him away. Sakura has just killed Gato. Goku is unconscious. Sasuke is unconscious. Naruto is unconscious. Kakashi is at awe. This girl just took out Gato and his men, but the way she did it, Kakashi said, I have to keep an eye on her. As Sakura dusts off her hands and say, problem solved. Threat eradicated. So I think that's a mission complete. Wouldn't you say, Kakashi Sensei? And that's where I'm ending my 1K special to What If Goku Landed in Naruto. So thank you guys for all the support that you've given me. Thank you for the 4,000 subscribers. Anyway, without any further ado, you already know the deal. Plus Ultra! Good night, guys.